Well, let's get straight into it. Yes, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. And today's video is a bit of a serious topic. Not serious topic, but you know. But yeah, obviously it's around football, of course. Obviously, like I always talk about on this channel. But today, obviously, this video, I've done a similar video to this just earlier, but obviously it didn't upload because it was getting too slow and it was really annoying me. But yeah, so if you're thinking, what game are you talking about today, Cody? Well, obviously, I'm talking about the Black Country Derby. And now, let's get straight into it. So, obviously, this is also like a photo reaction as well, but I'm talking about more the ugly side of the game. But yeah, obviously, the Black Country Derby took place earlier today in the fourth round of the FA Cup. And obviously, it was West Bromwich Albion against Wolverhampton Wanderers, or commonly known as West Brom versus Wolves. Obviously, the final score did end up being West Brom 0, Wolves 2. So yeah, let's just talk about the football real quick. Wolves, they were miles the better team than Albion. They did deserve the win. We're saying that though, West Brom, even though they had more of the ball, more like chances, but they were pretty wasteful. And saying that the Wolves, they weren't that great either, if I had to be completely honest. But I mean, I just feel like West Brom were really poor today. Were pretty wasteful as well, especially in derby games. In a derby game, like in a big manner like this. But obviously, Wolves, fair play to you lads. You're in the fifth round of the FA Cup, and deservingly so, because I think you've been a fantastic team this season. Don't get me wrong. Even though you're not gonna get relegated or battle against a drop. I think you're going to either battle for top half or just finish in mid-table. But West Brom, obviously, they're still going for promotion from out of the Championship. But realistically, there's no way they're going to catch up to, say, like Ipswich, Southampton and Leeds. But really, I think playoffs will be the aim for the Baggies this year. But I don't think they'll win the playoffs, which could really hurt them financially. But yeah, so obviously the ugly side of it. So obviously this is what I wanted to talk about, because so this is the story. So basically what had happened. So basically, Matthias Cunha obviously had put Wolves 2-0 up around 78 minutes. And then obviously after he celebrated, pointing to the badge and then just encouraging the fans to get more behind Wolves to get even more goals, or potentially even see the game out. But don't get me wrong, the goal was absolutely quality, by the way, from Matthias Cunha. Don't get me wrong, it was a fantastic goal. But Wolves again, that just shown how different class they are to West Brom. However, so after all of that had happened, so I think, yeah, so in the Birmingham Road End. Oh God. So yeah, in the Birmingham Road End, so basically, that's where the not where the away fans are, but this is where the home fans are behind the goal. So after the goal had happened, so it kicked off. And the reason why is that's because apparently 40-odd Wolves fans had bought a ticket in the West Brom end. And that is why, and obviously that's why it properly kicked off. So it obviously all that had happened, and obviously Carl Bartley actually tried to get his children. About there's parents, families, children in that stand when all the fight was happening, and obviously Sam Matterface, who commentated on the game for ITV, did say that we don't want to see it. This is not what we want to see. And to be honest with you, right, I'll get my thoughts on the situation in a minute. But so after all that had happened, I think the game got delayed for 38 minutes. So, and I did say on the recorded video that I did earlier, I said that obviously if the game does eventually get abandoned, like, it's up to the FA what they would do with the game. Like, either fully replay it, like restart 0-0, or restart the game when Wolves were 2 up and play the amount of added time that the last 13, 12, 10 minutes that it was due to be played, or fully abandon the game but give Wolves the win, but give Wolves the bye. So really, but obviously the game, but obviously all of that didn't happen. But obviously by the time I'm recording this, obviously the FA are now currently investigating what had happened at the Hawthorns. Obviously, a lot of people would want to talk about that, obviously. But to be honest with you, for all the people that obviously had been affected by what had happened, obviously I want to say that obviously I hope you guys are okay. I know it is really disturbing to see stuff like that happen in a football game, but especially in a big derby like West Brom against Wolves, that the two teams that absolutely hate each other. Like, that's sadly that's just what happens in a derby game, unfortunately. But obviously, us football fans love to see fights in a derby game. Don't get me wrong, right? Don't get me wrong. I want to see fights in a derby game. On the pitch. Like, on the pitch, off the pitch, as well. But personally, but really, I find, obviously, I hope you guys are doing okay, like, with what had happened. So, and obviously, I would give, if there's any people that I know, if any of my subscribers who were actually attending the game, and obviously haven't fully, haven't felt really sad or upset about what had happened, and my messages are all open on my Instagram, Snapchat. Well, I'm not going to give them a Snapchat, but obviously say my Instagram as well is at Cody Big Man City. Find the link to my Instagram is in the description. So, but my personal thoughts on what had happened, I find it absolutely just shocking. Like, don't get me wrong, I love to see fights in a derby game, right? But when it's that ugly, it's really, really, really is. It really is just sad. But personally myself, like, obviously, I haven't really watched this derby much, but seeing it today it is a massive rivalry. And obviously seeing how bad it is as well on the pitch as well as off it. Like, don't get me wrong, like, by the way, the Wolves fans were actually class today as well, by the way. Don't get me wrong. But not the ones who were in the West Brom end that caused all the trouble. Meaning the actual Wolves fans that actually bought tickets at the away end of the game. Personally, I think this needs to take into consideration, like, obviously, I've seen the game with Zach Tominski, of course, my mate. Obviously, he has a few mates who are West Brom fans or Wolves fans. I said to his mum, like, I'm not saying it, not to take the mick out of it, by the way. I'm just saying because I was actually talking about it on my watch along for the game. I said that I feel like from now on, right, clubs must ban rival fans from going in the home section. I don't care, even if you bought a ticket, do not let them into the stadium, right? Because stuff like that will happen. So say, could you imagine, say, Celtic fan in the Rangers end at Ibrox? That would be proper chaotic. And say Millwall fan in the West Ham section, mate, they wouldn't even be alive when that happens. It really is terrible organisation, really, from West Brom. Not from West Brom, but like I can't blame the club here. But like the thing is, once tickets go on general sale, I will understand, right? If you're a neutral fan, right? But say if I'm a neutral fan, say obviously I'm a neutral fan because I'm a Manchester City fan. But say I do prefer Wolves over West Brom. I do prefer Wolves over Albion, for instance. I would be fine, right? But if I'm a Wolves fan, an actual Wolves fan, say if I was born in Wolverhampton, if I was from Wolverhampton and actually bought a ticket in the Albion end, I wouldn't even be allowed into the stadium because we know how big the rivalry is between West Brom and Wolves. Really, like, it's just absolutely shocking, really, for what had happened earlier. Because I felt really bad. Because I feel like it really overshadowed a great game of football. And it's really bringing back the dark days of English football hooliganism back in the late 1990s or the late 80s, early 90s, early 2000s. We haven't seen disturbing scenes in a very, very, very long time. And obviously, I wasn't alive for when all the hooliganism from the hooliganism happened. All the hooliganism that happened in the 80s and the 90s, but my mum and dad were, so they would know so they know how it was at the time, and I don't. So obviously, I've still got lots to learn. Obviously, because I'm only 15. I was only born in 2008, and obviously, But we all know in derby games, so particularly, I've been to a couple of Bolton Wigan derbies over the last few years. Obviously, I went to the away game. Obviously, following Bolton. Obviously, they had to kept behind, considering obviously how big that rivalry is as well. Because obviously, it always kicks off when Bolton and Wigan play each other. It always turns nasty, feisty. Chaotic for the Greater Manchester Police, particularly the game earlier this season. I think, I don't know what exactly had happened, but obviously there were a load of Wigan fans. Obviously they were going for the Wigan fans, but but I don't know. But personally myself, I do think that stuff like that shouldn't happen in football. But don't get me wrong, right? If it's after the game, right? Fine, just let them do it. Right? Just let them do it, right? After the game. But when it's during the game, and you have parents, children, you have even little children attending football matches, and for them to see disturbing scenes like that, particularly from 40-odd Wolves fans, it's just really criminal. It really is just pure criminal. And personally myself, right, if I was actually attending the game myself, I'd be shocked, disgusted, because personally myself, right, obviously all of us across the UK and not across the world wants to see games of football. Football is like the biggest sport in the world and always will be the most important sport in the world because people like me die for football. They care about football. Football's more their priority than, say, boyfriends, girlfriends, and that, right? Football is more important. No, I'm not saying football's more important, but it is important for daily life basis. And also, I can understand, right, as well, like, the hatred between West Brom and Wolves. I understand that. It's a derby game. It's a derby game. The two teams hate each other. Fine. I understand that. But 40-odd Wolves fans going in the Albion end. Really? Alright then, let's see what happens if 40-odd West Brom fans were in the Wolves end then, when they next play each other at Molineux. Let's see how that would go. Let's see how that would go. Absolute bunch of idiots. Absolute idiots. All of us want to see a great derby game with fight, the passion, determination from both teams. Only Wolves shown that battle. Well, West Brom shown it, but they just couldn't score, right? What Wolves did. Wolves fair and square won the game. But I do not want to see scenes like that overshadowing games like this, right? I remember the Champions League final a few years ago, 2022, obviously Liverpool against Real Madrid. I was disgusted from that as well, particularly with the French police. And by the way, I still feel bad for the Liverpool fans to this day about how they were treated in Paris. By the way, don't get me wrong, right? I was glad that they lost the final. Don't get me wrong. I was glad that they lost the final because I hate Liverpool more than everybody else. But seeing that before kickoff and not letting fans in, it's just really is criminal, man. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought. Let me know what were your thoughts on what had happened at the Hawthorns and what were your thoughts on the game. Please comment down below. Well, this is technically a full-time reaction for the game, but obviously it's more talking about the why it kicked off and that. But coming back to the football, but obviously it was a good game. Don't get me wrong. West Brom obviously had chances, but they just couldn't score. Particularly the first 30 seconds, like straight away, kick-off, corner, and you knew how determined they were to win. And by the way, before I end this video, here's a couple of stats, right? Or here's the same stat, right? Wolves haven't won a derby game since 2011, before today, at Molineux, where Stephen Fletcher scored, and obviously when Wolves won 3-1. But the last time that Wolves won at the Hawthorns, he had to go all the way back to 1996, when Wolves won 4-2 at the Hawthorns. And the 96-97 season, they did a double over them by obviously winning that game 4-2 at the Hawthorns and winning 1-0 at Molineux, which takes the aggregate score to 5-2. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Smash the like, subscribe, get notifications on. Thank you for watching. Love, peace and seconds.